Hey guys, it's Kyle from AK Pro Films, and welcome to this brand new tutorial where we'll be creating a hipster style intro. This is a very specific type of intro, but I think it looks really cool. Now this is what we'll be creating today. Alright, so that is what we'll be creating today, but before we dive into Motion itself, there are 3 steps that we'll be covering in this tutorial. The first step will be finding all of our elements and combining them into our Motion project. Our second step will be animating the whole intro, making it look really cool, and then exporting it. Then the third step will be importing that intro into Final Cut Pro 10, where we can add some more elements to spice it up and make it look really cool. So those are the 3 steps we'll be covering today in this tutorial. So without any more further ado, let's dive into Motion 5. Alright, so let's create this intro. So let's open up Motion 5, and then let's create a brand new project. So when Motion decides to open up, we will go to our blank template over here, go to Motion Project, and let's have a preset of Broadcast HD 1080 with the frame rate of 30 frames per second. Let's keep it at a duration of 10 seconds and then press on open. Alright, so now I say this every time we do a tutorial. Let's go over here to our percentage and let's scale it back to about 25% so we can see our canvas and all of our working area. Alright, so actually before we start adding our elements to our scene, we need to have some of these elements. So I'm going to be using this audio track. It's from JQualk on SoundCloud. He's a friend of mine and he posts really cool audio tracks that I use in some of my videos. Then you'll also need this image. What this image is it's a couple lines, and as you saw in the sample video, these lines animate on to have a really nice effect. Now I created these lines inside of Keynote, but I will send you I'll put the link down in the description for you guys to download, just because creating this is a little tedious inside of Motion. And then I also have this image from pexels.com, P-E-X-E-L-S. It's kind of like a royalty-free image site where most of their images, or maybe all of them, are free. I'd highly recommend to check those out whenever you're doing a video project. And I also have this this file which has film burns inside of it, which added really a nice effect to our final video or final intro. All of these files will be found in the description below, so I'd highly recommend to check out the description and download all these elements, place them on your desktop before you actually decide to create this intro. Alright, so now that we have all of the graphical assets, let's place them inside of our Motion project. So what we'll need is this Pexels image. Let's place that in. And let's also just delete that temporary group because it created one for us. And then, as I say with most of my videos, stay organized. It helps you out a ton. So let's rename this to background. And there we go. Looking nice. And let's also place our lines inside of Motion. But let's do one thing before we actually do that. I was going to say let's make these white, but I guess they are actually white, so no worries there. Let's place this into our Motion project as well. And let's add this to a group, and let's rename it by pressing Return and then Command A. Let's call this the middle title. Nice. Alright, so I guess I forgot one thing, and that is the icon that we'll need for this intro, found on iconfinder.com. The link will also be found in the description below. And when you're on this page, let's go to the size 512 by 512, download the PNG, place it in your downloads folder, and let's go into our downloads folder, drag and drop that on our desktop, double click to open, and there we go. It has a nice transparent background. And what I want to do is, since this icon is kind of a dark gray, let's go over here to our markup toolbar, click on that. Let's go to the adjust color option. And then what we want to do is let's drag this black tab over to the right, now move our white tab all the way to the left, and then let's just have a little bit more. Let's mess around with this a little bit more. Click on the gray, maybe move that over to the left. Maybe move the white over a little bit, Move the black more to the right. And there we go. That is we converted it from a light gray to like a white color, which is nice. And feel free to mess around with this to get it to the black or white color that you so desire. So then exit out of there, exit out of preview, and let's pop this icon into our project. Let's place it inside of our middle title. There we go. All right, so now let's mess around with the middle title and place the elements where we would like them. So let's click on our life buoy here, press return and then Command A. Let's just call this life BUOY and then rename this to lines and call this other one to our ocean. There we go. And now with our lines, I think that looks really nice, but then with our life buoy, let's scale this guy down by going to the Inspector Properties tab and decreasing the scale value. So if I can do that here, yeah, there we go. We're gonna scale that down to about there. Then with our lines, let's do the same because they seem a little bit large for this intro. Maybe drop that down and then drop down the scale on our life buoy as well. All right, now let's go over to the percentage again and fit that back to the screen. All right, that looks really nice. We have the life buoy in the center, and then we have those lines. But we're missing out on a couple more elements, which are the establishment and then the date. So let's go over to the text tool, click on the text, and place a text element right there. Let's move that out of the middle. Oh wait, no, we want that inside of our middle text. So Command Z to undo that. And then under the text, in the text and format, let's change this to EST period. And let's change the font to Avenir Light, just because I think that looks nice. Feel free to change that if you so desire. Go over to the properties, and then on our Y, let's move that to 0 so it's nice and centered. And then on our X, let's move that more to the right, and there we go. Now there's one thing that we might need to do, and that is to move the anchor point of the establishment date. So what we want to do is we want to go to our mouse cursor right there, click and hold and press on anchor point, and then let's move that anchor point until we see 0, 0, 0, that it's nice and centered inside of our text. So 0, 0, 0, 0, I think. We're almost there. There. I don't know, this anchor point can be a little finicky, so just mess around with this. Maybe let's zoom in a little bit to about 200%. And there we go. Let's move it over to 0, 0, 0. There we go. Nice and centered. Fit back to the screen. And then on the Y, let's drop that to 0. And there we go. It's nice and centered. Perfect. I'm thinking maybe move it a little bit more to the right too. Okay, now duplicate the establishment text and then rename this to, it'll rename to whatever we type in. So let's put in 2016, and there we go. And then let's just rename this actually to 2016, and there we go. Let's go over to our properties, and then on the X, let's move that guy more to the right. And there we go. That's looking really nice. Yeah, right about there. Cool. And now what we need to do is just add the two text on the top and the bottom to make it, to finish this intro. So what we want to do is click on the text tool and click again. And then let's move this to its own group and call this, where did it go? Command Z. Let's add a new group by pressing the plus. There we go. And then drag on the text. Yeah, okay, there we go. It worked. All right. So just drag it to its own group, or just drag and drop it to a group you've created. So let's rename this and call this top text. And then with our text, let's add some, and let's call it the Cool Bros, because what other way to make a hipster title than to call it the Cool Bros? Yeah, all right, yeah, whatever. Rename it to whatever you want. And then I'm going to be using a font called BBoss, and if you don't have that title, it can be found online. Make sure to download that or use whatever font you want. And then let's increase the tracking just so it's a little bit nicer there. Nice. And then let's also go over to our anchor point and move that to 0, 0, 0. There we go. Nice. And then let's size this text up a little bit more. How about to 113? That looks nice. And then what we want to do is inside of our text, let's go over to our layout, and under layout controls, under layout method, change that to path. There we go. And then go back to your cursor by clicking and holding on our anchor tool, go to transform. And then double click on this text group right here, and you'll see the path. So what we want to do is just drag this up so we get a nice curve to our text. I found this out a day ago. I think this is just a crazy cool text tip. So for all you people entering text inside of Motion, it's your lucky day. All right, then click and hold on your transform or cursor, then go back over to anchor point. And let's position this guy right in the center, 0, 0, 0. And there we go. Let's go to our properties. Then on the X, zero that out. Then on our Y, we can mess around with this if we so choose. That looks good for me. And then let's duplicate this top text. Then it'll create a whole nother group with that same text in it. And let's call this bottom text. And there we go. Now what we want to do, go to properties, then on the Y, let's bring this all the way down. And then let's click on the text. Let's go to format and rename this to vlog number 2 or number 1, I don't know. Enter your own text and then make sure to choose a super cool looking font. I'm going to use this one. I think it's called Birch. Yeah, Birch Standard. Yeah. If you don't have that, use your own text or download this one. And then what we want to do is, I think that looks nice the way it is. Maybe let's go over to tracking and decrease that just a little bit so it's snug a little bit more. Yeah, there we go. And then inside of this, let's go over to the layout and then go back to the path. There we go. Double click and let's reverse the direction just so it's on a curved line the other way. Now what I want to do, I haven't found a way to actually center the vlog number 1 besides putting in a bunch of spaces. So let's put space, 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 space. There we go. Center it up as much as you would like or until it looks the way you want. Right there looks good to me. Then vlog number 1, let's move that up, and anchor point again, let's move that towards the center. 0, 0, 0. There we go. And then on the vlog number 1 text, let's go over to properties. And then on the X, let's bring that more to the left. To somewhere about there, I think. That looks good to me. And then on the Y, we can also mess around with that. I might bring that up just a little bit. No, I like the way it is. There we go. That looks really good. All right, so I think that looks really nice so far. We have all of our groups and we've named them. And the one thing before we actually dive into the second part is adding some rectangles over the top of these text elements. And the reason why I do that is just so we can add some image masks and add some really cool animations. So let's do that. So on the top text, click on the group. Let's click on a rectangle and make a rectangle that covers all of this text. So I think right about there should cover all of the text. And there we go. And let's put that, yep, it's in the top text group. And let's rename this rectangle to our Command A. Let's do top text mask. There we go. And then under our bottom text, click on the group and rectangle tool again and cover up that text. There we go. Let's also rename this to our bottom text mask. So let's type that out. Nice. So there we go, that looks really nice. And one thing when I was making my sample video and I posted it to YouTube, I had to move this mask way down here for some reason, just because it wasn't allowing me to do an image mask. I think it will. Why don't we try it again? So let's click on our text here and add an image mask, and then drag and drop that in. Yeah, it works. Okay, I don't know. My computer was probably freaking out yesterday. So what you want to do again is click on your text, right click, add an image mask, and then drag and drop the corresponding mask into the source well. So what we want to do for the bottom one here, right click, add an image mask, and then into the mask source, drag and drop the bottom text mask into that, and boom, we are all set up to go. And I'm going to show you what these image masks do inside of part 2. Alright, so let's dive into part 2 of this tutorial. Alright, so we just created our first step of this whole intro where we added all the elements and all of that into our intro, and I think it looks really nice. So let's animate all of this stuff and then export the intro. Alright, so we're back inside of Motion here, and let's animate all of this stuff. So let's close up our bottom text and our top text, but leave our middle title open and our background as well. Then we can close this, close that, and leave that one open, just so we can see what we want to animate where we don't have all of these tabs open. So let's go to our background and let's go to the properties and let's go to opacity. Let's add a keyframe at 0 seconds. And then at our 1 second mark, add another keyframe, and then go back to the first keyframe and drag down the opacity to 0. So if you play it back, it's just going to fade in, which looks pretty sweet. One thing you might have caught is that I added a Gaussian blur to this whole intro to make it look that much better, I guess. So what we want to do is go to library, then go to our filters, go to blur, then go to a Gaussian blur, drag and drop that onto our ocean. There's a couple other blurs you can mess with them, but one that I'd recommend is defocus. It kind of mimics the real world camera lens, but I think you should just stay with Gaussian blur because it is less taxing on your system. So drag and drop Gaussian blur onto the ocean, and then go to inspector, let's go under filters, and then at 15 frames on the ocean, let's click on the Gaussian blur, then on the amount, add a keyframe, and then when we're at 1 second and 15 frames, let's add another keyframe, and let's blur this background like crazy. So let's go to about, let's say 230. 230, well, bam, there we go. Then go back to our first keyframe and put in 0 for the Gaussian. So there we go. I think it looks pretty nice. Let's play it back. Then we can see that it fades on nice and slowly, and then it has all that goodness come on. Alright, so then at 1 second, let's close up our, wait, no. Let's go to the end and let's just, let's drop the opacity. So let's go to about 8 seconds, and then on our Gaussian blur, go to the amount, add a keyframe, and then at 9 seconds, wait, undo that, my bad. Go to 8 seconds, and we're going to deal with opacity instead. So go back over to the ocean properties, opacity, add a keyframe, then go to 9 seconds, and add a keyframe, bring that down to 0. That looks nice. Now what we want to do is at 8:15, let's go to our Gaussian blur now, add a keyframe, and let's go all the way, no, undo that, my bad again, 7:15, and let's add a keyframe for amount, and then when we're at 8:15, let's add a keyframe and bring the amount down to 0. There we go. Now our background is done. We don't have to worry about it again. So just minimize the tab. I think that's the best thing to do. All right, so now what I think we want to do is let's animate on our life buoy. So what we want to do, let's go to about 20 frames, and on our life buoy, let's go to our scale, And then let's go to 20, 1 second and 20 frames, and add a keyframe. And then there we go. Go back to the first one and drop down the scale. I think that's way too long, so maybe at 1. Maybe just at 1 second. All right. So then drag and drop the keyframe back to 1 second, and let's play it back. There we go. That looks 10 billion times better. And then at 1 second and 2 frames, add another keyframe. And then at 1 second and 4 frames, 1 second and 6 frames, add a keyframe. All right. So go back 2 keyframes. That's fine. Then jump the next one, move forward a little bit, and let's go to 48. 50. Yeah, there we go. And then go back to this one. Then go back to, and then move that back to 45%. There we go. 45%. There we go. Now let's play it back. And there we go. We can see we have a nice subtle bounce. I kind of like bounces just because they're cool and it makes the intro look better. So how about when we hit right there, let's add a keyframe for our lines and have those animate on. So click on the lines, go to properties and go to scale, add a keyframe there. And then let's jump forward, let's say to 1 second and 10 frames, add another keyframe, go back to the first, drop it down to 0, and preview that. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Maybe let's move all of these keyframes back a little bit, undo that. Click on one, press Command, click on the other. Maybe bring it forward a little bit so it's like this. Nah, bring it more to the left. There. Let's see. Yeah, that looks really nice. All right, and then go, let's say 2 frames, so 1 second and 4 frames. Add another keyframe there, and then go 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then go to 8. 1 second and 8 frames. Add another keyframe. Go back a frame, and increase that. Let's go to 90. So let's watch this. Nice. But there's one little error. You see the lines are kind of interfering with the life buoy. So how about right there? Let's add an opacity keyframe and then go back to our first frame. No. So just add that keyframe and then go forward to about to the next keyframe and then animate on the opacity. So go back to that one, 0. Boom. Yeah, there we go. Now we're talking. This is looking really nice. So boom, they both bounce on. We're in good shape right now. Cool. All right, now let's mess around with the establishment date and the numbers like 2016, or if you're feeling fancy, 2K16, whatever. All right. So then what we want to do is we want to go to our position, add a keyframe. Let's say at 1 second, and then at 1 second, and then at 1:10, let's add another keyframe for position. Then go back to the first, and then on the X, let's bring it forward to right there. Nice. Let's add a keyframe for the opacity, and then go to 105 maybe, and add another keyframe for opacity. Go back to the first, drop it down to 0, so it kind of comes out a little bit. Let's just see. That's really not what I want. All right, so let's go back here and delete the keyframe for opacity, delete the other keyframe for opacity. Right here, I want it to be at 0. Yeah, 0. And then we want at 110 to have another keyframe where it's all the way at 100. So yeah, there we go. Now we're talking. Maybe let's bring these more to the left, just so it's a little bit more in sync with the other animations. Nice. There we go. I like that. And then let's go forward a couple frames. Let's go forward to 110. Let's add another keyframe to make it bounce a little bit, and then go back to about 115. Add another keyframe for position. And what we want it to do is on the X, move more to the left, and then it'll bounce right back into place. It's a little bit too long. Drag that more to. Okay. Zoom in on the timeline a little bit, and then move that more to the left. Move this more to the left. That's kind of weird. Let's see. Keep messing around until it looks nice. There we go. No. It seems like it's a little bit jittery. Okay, let's click on the established date, then maybe bring it more to the right so it's not as jittery. Let's see. No, I don't like that. I'm not gonna do bounce on this one. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep it like that. I think that looks really nice. Okay, now let's go to 2016 and let's do the same kind of process. So let's click there, and let's add a opacity keyframe there. Then let's go here, add another keyframe for both of those. And then let's go back to the previous one, drop down the opacity to 0. Go back one more. Let's bring it more to the center of the life buoy. And there we go. Looks nice. Yeah, there we go. This is looking really nice. So then on our middle text, let's close all of that out. And then let's edit the top text group. Let's keep the middle text open just so you see the timing here. So we're going to have those come in just like that. And how about at 105, let's add a keyframe for the cool bros position. Let's add a keyframe there. And then let's go to, let's see, where were we? 105, and then maybe at 110, add another keyframe there. And then go back to the previous one, and on the Y, maybe bring it down a little bit so it kind of comes up. That's way too fast. So maybe at 115, let's move that keyframe over so it takes a little bit longer. It's still too long. So let's go to 120, add another keyframe there. And there we go, that's looking nice. And let's go back to our first keyframe. Let's add a keyframe for opacity. And then at let's say when it passes those lines, which is 116, add a keyframe there. Let's see. No, maybe let's not edit the opacity. This is kind of weird. I don't know what to do because it crosses the lines. How about let's add a keyframe for opacity there at 112. Go back to 105, add a keyframe, and then go back to 0. There we go. That's a lot better. Nice. So let's put our playhead at 105, and then go to bottom text. Let's animate this guy on. So for position and opacity, add a keyframe. And jump on over to 112, add a keyframe there, add a keyframe there, go back to our first one, opacity to 0, and yep, let's add another keyframe here for just the position, and then go back to our first one. Then on the Y, let's bring that guy up just a little bit. Yeah, that's looking nice. It's just a little bit too fast. So, Oh, you know why? It's just being a little weird. Let's delete that position keyframe. So it just comes in. Nice, 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 nice. And then on the Y, maybe bring it down just a little bit more. Yeah, there we go. That looks really cool. So let's play this back and see what we got. Nice. By the way, this tutorial is getting really long, but hope you guys are following along. If you have any questions, let me know down below in the comments section. But hope you're enjoying this. All right, then let's go to 7. At 7 seconds, we'll start animating all this stuff off. So let's go to our life buoy. Let's go to our scale and, oh wait, no. Let's copy all these keyframes. So shift, click on all those, copy, and then at 7 seconds, let's paste. Oh no, yeah, wait, hold on. And then let's highlight all of these, click on them, and show in keyframe editor. And then click on all these. And can I do reverse? Yeah, I can. And then reverse all the keyframes so it bounces up and out. Nice, nice. All right, and let's do the same for all of this stuff. That bounces out. So how about at 7:04 we'll have the lines disappear. So click on the lines and go shift click on all those, Command C to copy them. And then how about when it bounces up and kind of starts to leave, let's paste those keyframes. All right, so click on one, click on that one, and let's go and show inside of the keyframe editor. Let's not click on the life buoy, but yeah, let's uncheck that so we're not dealing with the life buoy. Then on the lines, let's highlight all those keyframes, and then reverse keyframes. All right, exit out of the keyframe editor, and then whoa. What am I doing? Whoa, what did I do? All right, so that bounces out. Oh, you know what? We're clicking on all of these. So let's just click on the lines and paste it just onto that one. There we go. And then click on the furthest to the right one and then to the left one there. Show inside the keyframe editor, uncheck on the life buoy, and then click on the lines. And there we go. Let's right click and reverse those keyframes. All right, so now let's watch it. Aha, okay. Now I have something weird happening to the opacity. So let's delete that one. Yeah, 100. There we go. Just delete that random opacity one. Oh, boom. And there it goes. And one thing that we have to do though is remember, I guess those opacity keyframes kind of got messed up. So click on the opacity. Let's go at 7:11, and then at 7:14 add another one, which is at 0. Delete those two. Actually, we're gonna move those. So let's go right here at 7:06, add a keyframe for opacity, and then go to 7:11 and add a keyframe and bring it down to 0. There we go. That looks really nice. Okay, so a couple last things we have to do here is mess with this established date, and then shift click on all of those, Command C to copy them. And how about when they go right here, let's make those disappear. So paste them right there, click on that one and then on this one, and then go to show in keyframe editor and delete the life buoy because we don't need those. Yep. And then we have our established date. And then what we want to do is highlight all of these, right click and reverse. Okay. Now, you know what? Just undo all that. We didn't want that. Okay, we don't want that. Okay. So when they're disappearing right here at 7:10, let's just add a keyframe for opacity and then go to, let's go to wait, where were we? 710. Then at 720, drop those opacities to 0. Okay. And then shift click on those. Let's move them more to the up. Yeah, okay. Click on that one, and move them back right there. So it starts at 706. Okay, let's watch that. There we go. That looks really nice. Now let's do the same thing for 2016. So click on opacity, pop a keyframe there, and at 716, pop a keyframe here. Let's drop the opacity to 0. And let's watch. Nice. Okay. So the final thing we have to do is we have to animate off the top text. So what we want to do is, how about right when all of this stuff exits, so right about there at 713, on the top text, let's go to position, then to, oh wait, no. Let's undo all that. And let's just copy all of our existing keyframes, because I don't want to re-keyframe these. So how about 713, let's paste them onto the cool bros, and then shift click on those, show in keyframe editor, delete that life buoy so we just have the cool bros, and then let's highlight all of these, right click on reverse, and there we go. That's looking pretty sharp. All right, now finally on vlog number 1, we want to copy those keyframes and we want to paste those at the end. So click on the first one, and then on the last, Command C, and then when we're at 713, let's paste those, Command V, then click on the last, click on the first, show in the keyframe editor, and hold on, the cool bros still there, let's delete those. Vlog number 1, that's what we want. Highlight all of those keyframes, and then right click, reverse. Let's watch it. There we go. Then the text animates off and everything is done. So that looks sweet. And then it will disappear here in a second. One thing I'm gonna do though is those title elements took a little bit too long to animate off, so let's move them more to the front. There we go. And then how about let's go back to the background. Even though I said we're not going to mess with it anymore, we're going to mess with it a little bit more. Let's move those keyframes. Let's move them more to the left so it animates on shortly. Boom. And there we go. And now our last thing to do is, let's just look at this again, but let's go over to this rainbow button over here. Let's click on transparent, just so we see how it will format inside of Final Cut Pro 10. There we go, everything animates on. One thing though is that our Gaussian blur is being a little funky. Why is it being funky? I don't know. Maybe let's go to our properties, our ocean, and scale that up just a little bit so we're not dealing with those edges that are blurred a little bit. There we go. Okay. Maybe scale it up just a touch more. No, let's not. Right. Yeah, right about there looks good for me. So there we go. We can see everything animates on nicely, pops on, and all that good stuff, and then it exits. All right, here's a little challenge for you. If you want to get even more fancy, why don't you animate the established date in the 2016 just to have them move a little bit to the left, just to add some interesting effects. I'm not going to do that, but if you have any questions about how to do that, let me know in the comments below. You know, challenging yourself is a good thing, so why don't you give it a shot? All right, so last thing to do is we want to file, and no, we don't want to do that. We want to go to share, and we want to go to export movie, and let's do the same as source, QuickTime Player, and then render. Make sure you have color plus alpha, however you want to say it, just so we have that transparent background. And there we go. Use everything, yeah, keep it the same, and then press next, and then save it to your destination of choice. I'm going to call it Hipster intro, and then save. And there we go. And one thing to do too, I kind of messed this up, but I didn't save this file as a motion for Final Cut Pro 10 title. So I guess that's nice, because if you don't have Final Cut Pro 10, you can still use this. But if you want a tutorial about how to create a Final Cut Pro 10 title inside of Motion with rigs and all that good stuff, make sure to let me know. All right, cool, there we go. It is all rendered, and we're ready to add that to Final Cut Pro 10. And then one thing I need to stress is that you need to save your project. I'm going to save it to the desktop so I can upload it for you guys. So I'm going to call this Hipster Intro project file. Hipster Intro project file, save. There we go. I think we're all set to go. So sweet. Let's continue on to the third part, which is adding the other cool stuff inside of Final Cut Pro 10. Alright, we finished the second step. Good job if you made it this far. If you have any questions, again, let me know below in the comment section. Alright, so now let's add this to our Final Cut Pro 10 file and add some other interesting effects. So hop on over to Final Cut Pro 10. Maybe let's quit Motion so it's not using system resources, but open up Final Cut Pro 10. Wait for that guy to load. And yeah, there we go. And this stuff, this is my intro from yesterday when I created a sample of what we could do. Cool, I'm just going to delete all this stuff because we don't need it. Alright, so here we go. We are inside of our Hipster Intro project. Go up to File, New Project inside of your library. But here we go, Hipster Intro, we're ready to create some stuff. So go to your desktop or wherever you saved the intro file, click and drag and pop that over into your events section right here. Now what we want to do is let's click and drag on our music file by JQualk, the cool dude who makes music. And then let's go over to the film burn effect and drop that into our timeline as well. Everything is linked below for your convenience. All right. So let's make this this window a little bit larger. Go to our generators, drag on to custom. Let's go and make this 30 frames per second. Feel free to use the settings you would like. Even if you're going 4K, make it 4K. But yeah, you need a 4K motion file if you want to do that. All right. Anyways, let's create this generator. Let's make this about. Let's go 1 second. And then let's drop on our Hipster Intro, which we created, and it looks really nice. Just to demonstrate that we have the transparent background, if you put a clip below it with a color, you can see that it animates on from that color, which is really sweet. But let's undo that. We have that 1 second gap clip right there. Black is fine with me. It'll fade on by itself, which is great, and fade out, so we don't need to deal with any of the transitions. All right. So now what we want to do is drag on our film burn effects. Might be saying, hey Kyle, well that's craziness. We can't see through it. I'm going to tell you that let's deal with that right now. Okay, so click on the 5 free film burns video. Let's go to the blend and click on screen. Whoa, that's craziness, isn't it? Yeah, that looks really nice. So as you watch through it, you can see that there are little gaps in there. What that is you put in 5 of them. So what we want to do is cut out the blank spots. So right there, that's a blank spot. So hit B on your keyboard right there to cut, like a chef, but doing video. So delete. And let's go to this one. It's done right about there. So cut. It starts right about here. Cut, and then our last 2, it is done right here. Oh, no, it's not. Right here, and cut again. Cut. There we go. Sweet. So make sure you cut out the dead spots because we want to utilize all these titles or these film burns because they're really cool. So there we go. You can overlap some of them if you would like. maybe just to make it way intense, but yeah, mess around as you so please. Alright, so with these three that I'm going to use, let's go to our video, then let's go to our opacity and drop this down so people can barely see it because we don't want it to be too disturbing. Now that looks really nice, doesn't it? So they keep animating on, and there we go. So one thing to note before we're finally done with this intro is add some cross dissolves. Let's add it to the front of this one, and then add it to the end of that one. And let's make them about 10 frames, I think. Yeah, 10 frames long, just so it's not harsh, but it's nice and subtle. Sweet. Now with all of these, let's just delete them. We don't need them anymore. Okay. And then finally, drag and drop the JQualk music on and find an interesting part. Well, that kind of scared me. All right. Let's find one of the higher energy. It's getting there. Hold on. Keep searching. Aha, there we go. And then press B on your keyboard to access the blade tool. Delete the first half of this and drag and drop the epicness forward and delete the gap clip. And then just position it to wherever you would like. I'm gonna line up this hit with when that stuff comes on. So then fade in the front by clicking on that handle, and here we go. Alright, and then press B on one of these parts and then just delete. And then fade out a little bit. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching this video where I showed you how to create a hipster style intro. Down below in the comment section, again, let me know if you have any questions. And also make sure to give this video a like if you liked what you saw, because that really helps. And also subscribe so you don't miss out on new tutorials covering Motion 5 and Final Cut Pro 10. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching again, and I'll see you in my next video. Have a great rest of your day.